Hello there folks, welcome to another video. So I'm a little bit late to the party with EA WRC. It's obviously been out for probably about a month now, and I was on holiday when it came out, so I'm a little bit late in having a look at it. However, here we are, and I have the 5-hour trial through EA Play, which is quite a good way of doing it. So, you know, I've got 5 hours to kind of make my mind up. So this is very much just the first hour or so setting up my player here, which is a fairly painless process. Just trying to decide on a name and a nickname and driver number and everything. I don't know what was going on with this pink and black and white outfit. I'm going to have to change that. And then it's straight on to what sort of experience you want. Well, I usually go for the middle, so experience will do me just now. Calibrating my wheel and pedals. This is where I've hit the first, you know, minor bump in the road. The wheel was fine. My Thrustmaster T300 base and my SF1000 wheel was no problem, but it did not recognize the TLCM Thrustmaster pedals that I have. So not a big deal. I just had to go and manually configure these, and once I'd done that, just took 5 minutes and everything was fine. Now, I did not touch the force feedback settings at all. As soon as I had configured the wheel, I basically went straight into a time trial just to see how it felt to me. So, I've recorded that time trial, and I'll have a chat about my thoughts when we're replaying that here. The graphics settings, I didn't really touch either. I just left them at whatever the game thought that they should be. Just trying to get as much kind of stock feel of the game as possible to see how it deals with recognizing my hardware. So, as I say, the first thing I did was go into a time trial, and it gave me this lovely Twingo. What an awful looking car. Anyway, beggars can't be choosers. We'll just take whatever it gives us. So I think the first time trial it gives you, there was a couple I could try, and the first one was Kenya. So here we go. So I've recorded the actual thing live from my camera view. Here we go. And I've also got a replay which I'll stick at the end. But whilst this is playing, let me just give you a few thoughts on the first hour. Well, my first thought when I started this time trial stage here was, my God, these graphics look shit. You know, as I'm driving along, I'm thinking, God, there's hardly any texture on the road. These bushes and little trees and everything at the side don't look very great at all. So the first impressions on the graphics were not good whatsoever. Now, I was kind of prepared a bit for this because I've been watching quite a few YouTube reviews of the game when it first came out, and then people who have had it a good few days or a week or 2 weeks, and I could see a lot of people were complaining about the way the graphics looked. I wasn't going to hold it against the game at this stage because, as I say, I didn't adjust the graphics settings at all. So you'll see in my next video or two on WRC, where I've already captured the footage, that things do improve once I go in and tinker with the settings. But it wasn't a great initial impression. The sense of speed and driving here, I think, is absolutely fantastic. One thing I will say is the wheel, the sense of driving, and the force feedback, bearing in mind I did not fiddle with any settings at all, so this is straight out of the box, I thought were really, really good. You know, Forza Motorsport, take note, it is possible to have, you know, different wheels, different base settings and everything just recognised, and a pretty good default setup. There's no doubt I shall go in and tinker a little bit more with the force feedback settings and just see if I can improve it even more, but it is very, very drivable. As I say, the force feedback, when you go over the ruts in the road, and if you clip a boulder at the side, or you'll see in this road in Kenya, there's some really big sort of potholes. And when you get a tire, or get a wheel in one of these, you can really feel it. Like that. There's one there. Oh my god, I was way up on 3 wheels there. Absolutely fantastic. So, minus point on the graphics, plus point on the driving feel and force feedback. Even though I've obviously gone straight off the road there. First time on this stage, you'll have to forgive me. Not the best driving. What else can I say about it? Oh, the sound. Now, the sound also fantastic. On my first, I got a bit of a micro stutter there. Don't know if you noticed that going through that water bit there. So I've read and heard about micro stutters in this game, even for those with fairly decent hardware, and I certainly experienced a couple. So, you know, it's still got a few things to iron out. However, back to the sound. The sound is brilliant. I was impressed straight away, even with this little Twingo. However, I've driven a few other cars, obviously, and I've recorded the footage from these bits of the game and stages as well, and it just sounds fantastic. In the car, really good. When you sustain damage, now there was a career, I've started a career, and you'll see in a bit of footage in a future video, I get a puncture, and you can really hear the tyre kind of thudding as the puncture is deflating the tyre, and I've heard that in other things as well. I've damaged some bodywork and heard the car kind of creaking and complaining. There's another big pothole. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for the sound. Absolutely brilliant. And in the replays as well, as I say, I'll put the replay, the TV replay of this stage at the end of this video without any real commentary from me. But the sound in the replays is just brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So, you know, there's 2 positive things and 1 negative thing. The menus and everything, well, I don't want to chat too much about that until the next video, because I have delved into career. I'll talk a bit more about that when I'm doing a career video, but yeah, it's not bad, but it's a little bit confusing, to be honest. I think it could have been structured a little bit better, but I shall leave that for a future video. But this, literally my first time driving the game here at Kenya, pretty impressed. 5 hours to play this game on EA Play, and nicely it coincides with a Steam sale, and surprisingly for such a new game, I see that they've knocked 10% off this, so I think it's about 40 quid, or maybe just slightly less, £38. So at the moment I'm kind of tempted, I must say, but the last time I did one of these EA Play for 5 hour things was for Grid Legends, and the 5 hours convinced me to buy the game, and you know, I got a nice cheap key off I think it was in Niba or somewhere like that. But the way it's going with EA WRC, not just from this initial drive, but from 2 videos that I've almost got in the bag, and I'll be up on the channel fairly soon when I'm doing like the 2nd hour and maybe the 3rd hour, is I'm very much leaning towards buying it. Even though it has a few little niggles, I am pretty confident they're going to sort these out. And some of the stages that I've seen or driving in other parts, especially since I started my career, are absolutely brilliant to look at, and quite lengthy as well. Certainly the stages seem to be a lot longer than we ever used to get in Dirt 1 and Dirt 2. I guess that is a reflection of the new engine they're using here, and I know that the hardware recommendations are a lot higher. They're not bringing this out on last gen consoles like PlayStation 4 because they just couldn't do it, not with the length of the stages that are involved. So at the moment, I would give it, I was thinking before I started doing the commentary for this video that I would give it a mark out of 10, which I will revisit as I do each little WRC video. But here in the first one, I was thinking, well, maybe give it a 6 out of 10, but I thought, no, that's unfair. Let's give it a 7 out of 10. So promising, a few little niggles to be ironed out, but a good game, a very enjoyable game, straight out of the box. And I think there could be a great game lurking in here if they just get a few patches out and iron out these little niggles. So we're coming up to the end of the stage here. Oh, another big pothole there. And as I say, I'll put on the TV replay. Oh god, I hit a big boulder. That wouldn't have done the car any good. I will put the TV replay on. I might keep my headphones on and chat a wee bit during it, but it's really for you guys to sit back and watch. Still with not very good graphic settings, so do not judge it on this TV replay. However, the TV replay I think looks a lot better than this view. So here we are coming around to the end, I believe. Yep. But I really did enjoy the first run despite the poor graphics, and as you'll see in the future videos, I kind of get that sorted out a little bit here. So here's the TV replay. Now that's one of the things I really like about it as well. The vegetation looks much better on the replay, doesn't it? But I love that dust trail. Obviously you're not going to get it in every circuit, you know, tarmac's not going to throw up a dust trail, but here in dusty old Kenya, look at that trail behind the car, it looks fantastic. Nice spectators at the side there. Yeah, even in this replay, you know, sometimes it can look brilliant, and other times, depending on the camera angle, it can look not so great. You see a little bit of pop-in of vegetation up ahead and trees and things. I'll do a video on my graphics settings just to let you see what I'm getting out of my not too bad rig. It's only about a year and a bit old, so it's still fairly decent processor and card. You can see what my specs are in the video description. And this replay, I've just left it on to sort of switch between different camera angles, so that's quite a nice one from the dash earlier on, wasn't it? Whoa, look at that. Massive pothole. Yeah, I know, this is where I completely go off the circuit. I didn't, you've really got to pay attention to the code driver, and it works well. You kind of have to just tune your brain into taking in his or her information and thinking a corner or two ahead, but I was certainly managing to look at these. That's another thing that's awful. These character models, they look like data out of Star Trek. They don't look human at all. But yeah, I was managing to kind of know what was coming up 90% of the time just by the co-driver calls, which was working well. I can't remember if I've had it. I think there's two settings. You can have complex calls and then a lower one which is just basic calls. I can't remember what setting I've got it on. I'll have a play around with these. But yeah, I was certainly able to follow the course most of the time, even though I'd never been on it. See, it doesn't look that great there, does it? But it does give some great footage from these TV replays, especially some of the other stages that I've been on. it's been very hard to concentrate on the driving sometimes, because you're just kind of looking, oh look, that looks pretty over there, and quite breathtaking sometimes. And this little Twingo is not exactly the fastest car in the world, so God knows what it's going to be like in some of the faster cars, or some of the old Group B rally cars. I'm dying to try these out as well. I've got a lot to cram into my 5 hours before I decide to purchase it. I think I've got about 3 hours, just over 3 hours left on my EA Play trial. So let me know in the comments if you are racing in WRC, if you bought it, if you're trialing it out like me, what you think so far, what niggles you've had, what positives you think there are. Let me know if you think I should buy it, which I'm very heavily leaning towards doing. I'd be interested to know what all you guys think as well. And if you want to see the future videos, as I say, I've almost got 2 of them already edited and ready to go, so they'll be appearing in the next day or 2. But if you want to follow my thoughts on EA WRC, then do subscribe, give the video a little like, be much appreciated. I'm nearly at 700 followers, so I do still have this target of maybe hitting 1,000 followers by Christmas, New Year. So that would be quite nice if I got a few more from these WRC videos. But yeah, I really did enjoy Dirt 1 and Dirt 2, and I think I'm going to enjoy this. I see a lot of people are complaining, saying the graphics are a downgrade from Dirt 2. I'm not so sure about that. I think I still have Dirt 2 installed on my main SimRig PC, so maybe I should go and fire that up again and just drive some comparison tracks just to see how it looks. But certainly the way I've got this looking now, after tweaking the settings, which is not how it's looking in this video, I'm pretty pleased with it. And I've stuck on the Steam FPS counter as well, because it's nice and small just up in the corner, so I'm kind of monitoring what FPS I'm getting as I'm bumping the settings up. And usually it's just over 100, 110 or so. I have seen it dip as low as maybe the high 80s, but only very occasionally. So these sort of FPS figures will do me fine. Look at that sweeping vista there. You can really see far ahead, and these are massive stages. Oh, another big look at that. Massive potholes. Good grief. Look, oh, that. It's not as if I could miss that boulder. I mean, I must have been looking somewhere else at the time. So I don't think we're too far off the end here. So I hope you've enjoyed my initial thoughts there on my first hour with EA's WRC, and if you do want to see how I'm getting on in my roughly sort of second hour, then subscribe, come back in a day or 2, and I shall show you. But for now, that's it guys. I shall see you in the next video. Cheers for now.